Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. Hopefully this is working. YouTube has it confirmed that the health. Oh yes, the stream is healthy. That's always a good thing. So here we are again. Just wait for some people to turn up, and we'll start the show. And I can't tell if there's anybody there or not at the moment. Oh, Ryson, how are you? Good to see you, mate. I got your email too, by the way. I'll reply to it later. The email was about what is it? Finnish coffee cheese. Floating Pig Gaming. Hi, how are you? Now, is the moderator online? Kim, can you type something, please? Oh, and Linda from the UK. She's watching too, but she can't chat. Rodolin, how are you? Yes, Kim, I can see that you are there. Thank you very much. Okay. I am Elton from the other live stream. Oh, there you go. You keep changing your name. Right. My husband loves you. Oh, well, there's a lot of love in the room. Anyway, so let's kick off the show, shall we? Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. G'day, Curd Nerds. Well, 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 g'day, Curd Nerds. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Cheeseman Live. This is live stream number 28. And this is the Asia, Oceania, Europe, and Africa version. We had the Americas version earlier this morning. Now, just a few things. If you would like to support the show, I know it's a bit early for a shout out. You can use Super Chat. So Super Chat's that little dollar sign down there on the screen next to the smiley face. That is if you want to have a chat or a question highlighted. Then I'll see it. It costs as little as $2 US, and it converts into whatever currency. I think it might be $1 US. I'm not too sure. Anyway, something like that, very small, and most of the proceeds go to this channel, which is keeps it on the air and going, and keeps the moderator fed in cheese, which would be Kim. So let's. I just got something to get off my chest, and I don't know if people saw the show this morning. My time, but I've had some comments recently on the channel that the channel is losing focus. Now, far from it, because it's pretty difficult to run a business. Not only do I make cheese, I also make soap and help Kim with workshops for candle making, bath bombs, all that sort of stuff. So cheese isn't our only focus at Little Green Workshops, but it is my focus as far as that's my hobby slash part-time profession, I would suppose. Anyway, I just want to show you some of the things that I've been up to. You'll notice that up in the background there, we've got a vegan cheese kit. Now that'll feature soon. I'll do an unboxing on that and get my hands on some raw cashews, and we'll make some very yummy vegan cheeses. Not all cheese has to be dairy, of course, but we'll give it a go and see what it turns out like. Another thing is you'll see a lovely picture of a double Gloucester that I've made there. Made that on Sunday. Now that's tucked away in the cheese cave now for the next 6 months. And we will have a video about how to make double Gloucester very soon. And it will be out on Sunday morning my time, Saturday for the Americas. So watch out for that one. Also, I've got a little bit of a disaster video to show you. I'm currently making a cheese which I've called a Bloomy Goat Blue. Now, I've used 4 litres of goat's milk that's been pasteurised. And just a word of warning for the squeamish cheesemakers out there. Let me just show the video, shall I? So, as you can see there, I'm ladling the somewhat set curd. This is after 24 hours of setting in the pot. Look at it all run out the bottom. A bit of a cheese-making disaster. From what I figure out by re-looking at the recipe, I believe that I didn't use enough rennet because the rennet that they use in the book is 300 IMCU. I only had rennet that was 200 IMCU, so you notice it's kind of running everywhere, which is not the best, and the music kind of tells the disaster. So yeah, so it's a bit of a worry. This was over the course of about half an hour. Fill them up. So they're actually sitting on the side with all of the curds in, and some of it leaked out, obviously. But watch for that one in a few weeks if the cheese is successful. So a bit of a worry that cheese kind of leaked out the bottom of the hoops. But that's what happens. Cheese making is an adventure. Doesn't always happen out how you plan it. But hey, we all learn from our mistakes. And that's probably the best way that humans learn, is from experiencing things and learning from their mistakes as they go along. And that's cheesemakers as well. And one last thing, on Saturday, I taught 2 lovely people. There's a picture of Nick and Vesna, and I taught them how to make halloumi, which they're proudly holding up there. That's our kitchen. You've probably seen it on the channel many times before. But they're holding up some halloumi they made, and they also made some whole milk or ricotta, which is sweet ricotta, and some paneer, which they salted, and they said it tasted just like a cheese from Serbia, where they're originally from. So that's the shenanigans that I've been up to over the last week or so. So far from being the channel being dormant or anything like that, there'll be lots of lovely video, cheesy content coming out soon, as well as Wednesdays, the 2 live streams that we have. So the show doesn't work unless you guys ask questions. So if you've got any questions, shoot them out, and I'll get on with it. Okay, so Kim says, Linda's got a question from the UK. Do you still love eating cheese even though you make loads of it? Yes. Yes, Linda, I do. In fact, today I cut open a Gruyere that I made in February, on the 18th of February, and I must say it was a very delightful cheese. You'll see soon over the next few weeks, you'll see a Gruyere taste test, as well as a Piora taste test. Now, I made the Piora back in March, and that turned out amazing as well. A bit of a surprise for you Aussies, but you'll have to wait. I'm not going to spill the beans. Thanks for asking your question, Linda. McSlurry Hole, hey Gav, have you ever tried home brewing beer? Seems a lot of parallels for cheese making. Yes, I actually do make home brew beer. If you go and check out, I've got another blog called The Greening of Gavin, and just search for home brewing there. I've done lots of home brewing blog posts on how I do it and all that sort of stuff. But mind you, since I've really ramped up the cheese making, I haven't had much time to make home brew. Even though it doesn't take very long, it only takes about an hour to prep and put it down into the barrel to prepare the wort and all that sort of stuff. And about another hour to bottle it once it's all fermented. But yeah, I'm trying to lose a bit of weight. As you could probably see, I've put some on lately due to those headaches that I was having. Kitty Cats, welcome. You never stop eating cheese, yes. And hello to you too. And Kieran, hello, how are you? Rodlin says, how do you clean your cheesecloths, i.e. get all the icky stuff off? Yeah, very simple. All I do is once I've finished my cheese making session and I've got multiple cheesecloths, even if I've got one, I pop it into the front load washing machine and put it onto an express wash. I don't put any powder into the washing machine, but into the rinse compartment, or the, what's it called, fabric softener, the soft fabric softener compartment. I fill that up with white vinegar. So the cheese, and I put it on cold wash. So after the 30-minute cycle, it comes out smelling nice and fresh. It's all clean. And then I just simply hang it in the laundry. We've got this hanging rack that's already purpose-built in our laundry because we don't have a clothes dryer. And it all dries, and then I pack them away into a plastic bag. They're nice and dry, ready for next time. And then to sanitize, I simply put the cheesecloth in with all of the other utensils, stainless steel utensils, into the boiling pot before the cheese making session. So, Rodlin, hopefully that answered your question. Next question, Kim's timing out somebody, having a good time doing it by the looks of it. Kieran, when did you start making cheese? Well, way back in 2009. Doesn't sound like a long time ago, does it really? But in cheese years, I suppose it is. Since then, I've probably made over nearly 200 different types of cheese, and multiples of the same cheese. In fact, Kim was actually complaining to me today because she had a friend over, and they sampled some of the Gruyere and the Piora. And she said to me, you never make the same cheese twice. I said, well, I used to make the same cheese twice, but unfortunately, time is of the essence. And when I'm making a cheese, I'll try and make a sampler first, but I always video it. So if it turns out okay the first time round, that's it. That's a wrap. And I put the video up, and that's what you guys get to see. So yeah, so the reason I started, and you haven't asked that question, but the reason I started making cheese was around about 2006. I started not a campaign, but I started becoming conscious of the environmental damage we were doing, and I wanted to make sure that the food that I ate and the actions that I took around the house were environmentally friendly, and we had a less of a footprint. So I wanted to know how to make my own cheese, all our own pickles. We grew our own veggies. We've got chickens out the back. We've got solar panels on the roof, solar hot water, double glazing, extra insulation. We don't have any heating on in the house at the moment. It's middle of winter. This morning when I did the live show, it was 3 degrees Celsius outside, but inside it was a lovely 18 degrees. And that's without any heating on. So we've got the house very well insulated. Anyway, I segue from cheese, but that's one of the reasons why we started making our own cheese. Soundless, what's my favourite kind of cheese? Really, when it comes to bloomy rinds, as in like camemberts and stuff, they're kind of like my nemesis. So I don't particularly like making those. I give them a go to see if I can perfect them because, perfect practice makes perfect. My favourite kinds of cheeses are cheddar varieties because they're so simple to make. I used to be scared of the cheddaring process, but it's a walk in the park. It really is so simple. There's no problems at all. So that's my favourite kind of cheese to make, and all cheeses are my favourite to eat. So I know it's a bit of a cop out, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so Mario, where do you store Parmesan cheese so it ages? Parmesan, what the heck is Parmesan cheese? Let me just do a quick Google search for Parmesan. Sure we don't mean Parmesan? Even Google can't find the word. So no, can't help you there. But all the other cheeses we store in the cheese cave to mature. And there's a video, if Kim wants to put the link up, for the cheese cave and how we maintain our little bar fridge that has the external thermostat, and that would be fantastic. Parmesan, yeah, Parmesan, right, Parmigiano Reggiano. Yes, that cheese cave. That's the best way to store it for aging. Kitty cats, can you tell me when can you tell Camembert are ready to eat? Can you tell by just feeling them in the wrapper? Good question. So usually I try my Camembert at about the 3 week mark after it's made. So that's 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, usually it'll have a bloom, and then you wrap it. And then the last 2 weeks, it matures in the normal fridge at about 4 degrees, because otherwise they go too runny. Yeah, you can press it on the sides. You can feel if they're a bit squidgy, then they're probably, depends on how high the temperature. The higher the temperature that you store them, kitty cats, is detrimental to camemberts, because they really need a low temperature of about 7 degrees to get that initial bloom. And if there are any more, the cultures just go rampant through it and turn it into a runny, liquidy mess. So yeah, you can squeeze the outsides to see if it's still firm. If it's firm, it's not quite there, but try one at 3 weeks. I always guarantee that one will be quite nice, but then you'll be able to gauge if it's still a little bit white in the center, then you, at the 3 week mark, then leave it for that last week and it should be perfect. Okay, Kieran asks, what's your worst cheese to eat? Well, I had, like I said, the two that I cracked open today for the video taste test that you're yet to see had some red mold on them. They were very moist and they shouldn't have been. And they did smell a little bit like ammonia, which is not a good sign. However, once I scraped off some of the infected part, the cheese was just divine. It's amazing what you can do when you scrape a little bit of mold off. The cheese was perfectly fit and healthy, and it looked fantastic, and it tasted, well, I wouldn't know. I've never tasted Gruyere. That was the first time ever. Apparently, from what I've read, it tasted the same. But yeah, that was a bit worrying when I first saw that. The worst one I've ever eaten that I've made is Saint Marcelin. If you go and have a look at the Saint Marcelin taste test, you'll see my facial expressions. It's just, yeah. And go watch it. That's all I can say. That was overripe. It was like 5-6 days overripe, and it was watery, and look, it was okay, but it's not the best cheese ever made. So that's the worst one I've ever made. Rodden has another question. When will you be making brie cheese anytime soon? Yes. Yes, I will. Stay tuned. There will be brie soon. Kim's put up the link. Thank you very much. Are there going to be some cheesy facts? Kim, are there going to be some cheesy facts? She says she's running out, but remember, honey, that lots of people haven't seen your amazing cheesy facts, but we need to read some out. Kitty Cat says they're at 10 degrees in the cheese cave. I've tried at 3 weeks, but they're still rather firm. Okay, well, that extra week will do it, I would reckon. But if not, and they're not tasting or smelling too much like ammonia, then you could let it go a little bit longer. I wouldn't go too much longer, because you'll find that nearly overnight they're quite amazing little cheeses. They'll just go runny. So you cut it in half. You've got a lovely bloomy rind around the outside, and it just goes all over the cheese platter. So quite amazing. Soundless says, is it affordable to gather the ingredients to make some cheese, or will I have to save a bit of money? All depends on the cheese, Soundless. So if you want to make, you could, I bet with the ingredients in your home right now, you could make one of the simplest cheeses there are. Two simple cheeses, actually, from the same cheese run. And it would be ricotta and ricotta salata. Ricotta just needs whole milk, fresh milk. If you're going to make the sweet version, not the whey ricotta, but the sweet version, you'll need a bit of vinegar or citric acid. Follow the videos that I've made. And when it gets down to, after you've drained it, you could actually add more salt to it, a couple of teaspoons, I think. A couple of teaspoons, and then press it really heavily. And heavily, I mean 2 kilos, which is not too much, but leave it for 24 hours. And then that cheese, you can wait for a natural rind to occur. And there you go. Simple cheese, cheap as chips, and you don't need too many ingredients or utensils, by the way, to make that sort of cheese. But you may have to, if you want to get a kit or something like that, most of them start around $50, some up to about $100 Australian, which these days is not much money compared to anywhere else. But yeah, and they have all the stuff you need. You just need to add milk most of the time. They've all got instruction booklets in them. So yeah, kit would be the way to go on your favourite cheeses. Now, it depends on what sort of cheese you want to make. So you want to make hard cheeses, there's a hard cheese kit. If you want to make fresh cheeses, you can see behind me, there's a fresh cheese kit. And yeah, they all turn out quite well. Some of the ones I've made, well, not some, all the ones I've made have worked out of those kits anyway. It's my evening coffee. Kim says she's run out. No, you haven't. Just go and repeat them. Action Bastard is back. Hello, how are you? Kim has cheesy fat. Hard cheese have a longer shelf life than soft cheeses. Well, yes. Yes, they do. And the main reason behind that is moisture. Bacteria infect high moisture cheeses more readily than they do harder cheeses, which have less moisture. The harder cheeses tend to be more acidic because over time the lactobacillic bacterias convert the lactose into their component sugars and change them into lactic acid. And that's the lactic acid that kills a lot of the bad bacteria that we don't want in our cheeses, like Listeria, Salmonella, and the like. And Kim's coming up with the best facts there. Anyway, so we'll come up. McSlurry Hole, is a cheese cave essential, or can you get away with making cheeses in winter by just leaving them in the cupboard or something? Yes, in fact, the first few cheeses that I made, one of them Wensleydale, another one Caerphilly, it was in the middle of winter. And I did just that. I waxed one of them, I waxed the Wensleydale and left it in the pantry cupboard because the temperature was right. It was about 13 degrees in there. And I turned it weekly, and it turned out amazing. Go and check out, there's a Wensleydale video somewhere there. I don't know if Kim will be able to find it. She should be able to. And that was the very one that I matured in the pantry cupboard. So that worked fine. So you can, if you can find somewhere where it maintains a temperature of about 13 degrees, you should be right. And Kieran says, what's the longest you have cured a cheese for? Well, I'd like to say the cheddar, but that was only for a year. I had a manchego, and I matured that for 18 months. And that was a cow's milk manchego, but it was amazing. I have matured Parmesan for 2 years, and let me tell you that that flavour is well worth the wait. And I've done a Romano for 18 months as well. Just got to be patient. Just make lots of cheese and you don't have any problems, really. and you can use it as you feel like, and you can mature it for quite a long time. Kim has another cheesy fact. The seller of a cheese is known as a cheesemonger. Yes, Kim, you're coming up with these. Where do you get these basic ones from? But yeah, cheesemongers, and it's a profession. People have who sell cheese, and there's not a heck of a lot of cheesemongers here in Australia because there aren't that many specialty cheese stores. There's a few popping up here and there. There's one called the Spring Street Grocer. There's a cheese seller down there that has a cheesemonger. I've met him. Nice bloke. And there's some amazing cheeses there. That's on Spring Street here in Melbourne. And there's a few other places around Melbourne that I know of. But it's more so in Europe, and I think New York has quite a few cheesemongers as well. New York City. From what I've read, haven't been there, so I don't know. Okay. Soundless has, thanks for the information. I'll be sure to check the videos. Yeah, Kim's popping up links there, Soundless, so you should see them. Making some cheese provided, how much I consume. Awesome channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate your feedback there. Kim has another cheesy fact. Some cheeses can be curdled by adding lemon juice or vinegar. Yes, they can. And you've seen some of those videos. Paneer is curdled by lemon juice, and the milk is brought to the boil. Lemon juice is added. I actually add some yogurt too to give it a little bit of a flavour that is not necessarily there if you just use milk. And it turns out quite well. The recipe was given to me by one of my Indian colleagues at work, and she says it's authentic, so I believe her, and that's what I actually teach, is how to make paneer as well. As for vinegar, ricotta, whey ricotta and whole milk ricotta are two good examples of just adding white vinegar, or apple cider vinegar. Has a little bit of a different flavour. Valerie, how are you, Valerie? Hi, Gavin. What are the most popular cheeses in Australia? Well, as far as I can tell, it's cheddar. And I don't know if that's from the Bureau of Statistics here in Australia, but cheddar is the most popular cheese in Australia because it's sold in 1 kilo blocks of crappy McCrap cheddar in the supermarkets, and that's what people buy, don't they, Kim? Yes, I would rather buy artisan cheeses and just use cheese sparingly and eat it nicely. And the second most popular cheese, would you believe, is mozzarella, because people consume it so much on pizza. There you go, cheesy fact. Kim, thank you very much for the Wensleydale video. And Rodlin asks, we're watching a YouTube video the other day which states there are 2 forms of blue cheese mold. Can't remember the name, but it wasn't the Roquefort. Do you have any information on this? No, I actually only have one type of blue that we sell and I use, and that's Penicillium roqueforti. So no, I don't know that one. I'll have to do some research. Other blue mold. Thanks for the question, but yeah, I'm sorry I didn't know the answer to it. First time for a long time, that one. You got me. Kim, another cheesy fact. Cheesy fact, Pizza Hut is the largest cheese-using fast food giant. It uses approximately 300 million pounds of cheese annually, mostly on pizza. Yes, it does. And hello, Jason. Thanks for the link for the paneer there, Kim. Kitty Cat's Perth has got its own cheese bar, a place to eat artisan cheese and good booze. Yeah, we've got one here in Australia. I think it's called Milkmaid. In Melbourne, it's called Milkmaid. And I think it's a very similar thing. It's a cheese bar. You go along, you get a little tray of a cheese platter, and you get beers and ales and some wines, I think, that match the cheeses. My daughter Megan's been, and I think no, Amy hasn't. She's lactose intolerant. Yeah, my daughter Megan's been, and she had a blast. She says she had a great time. So thanks, Kitty Cats. Yeah, it sounds like Perth's a swinging place. Valerie says, have you ever tried a deep fried cheese? Yes, deep fried camembert is amazing. Usually what they do, they coat it in breadcrumbs, deep fry it, so I must do it really quick, a couple of minutes, tops. And when you cut it open, the camembert just oozes and the crust it's amazing. Yes, it's very nice. And I've also made baked ricotta. So at one stage, um, when I was teaching a cheese class, I was the one that actually made the ricotta, and it was just a demonstration. And the students would then go and make mozzarella. And then Kim got so sick of me bringing home this kilo of ricotta once every couple of weeks. We started making all sorts of things with it. So one of my favourite things to make with ricotta, and nobody's asked the question, but I'll say it anyway, is a ricotta, a chocolate ricotta tart that Kim's make. She makes the pastry from scratch, the short crust pastry, and then makes the filling. I made the filling, as in the ricotta, but she adds chocolate to it, a whole bunch of other things. I don't know if you got the recipe there, Kim, on taste.com. You can throw that up. It's amazing. Chocolate ricotta tart. Fantastic. And the other thing we made were baked ricotta. So you add a few bits to it, some egg and just a little bit of egg and some herbs and spices and some spring onion and a few other bits and bobs. Pop that into some ramekins and then bake them in the oven. And when they come out, they are amazing as well. So yeah, there's some of well, it's not really deep fried, but there's uses for cheese when you have a lot of it. Ryson says, had a pizza the other day with smoked provolone, gorgonzola, and something else, no mozzarella. Yeah, provolone, I think, is starting to become a little bit more popular. And I don't think it was my provolone video either. But I'd never heard of it in Australia, or simply never seen it. Maybe I didn't pay attention to it. But now I've had provolone picante that I bought in the supermarket, the authentic Italian one. I just couldn't get enough of it. It was just amazing, and it grated. I can see why it's called the poor man's parmesan now. And it has a similar taste, but not exactly the same. But yeah, it's very nice. Gorgonzola, the Italian blue cheese, is absolutely delightful. It's very creamy. It's made it's made from the morning milk and the afternoon milk. They combine it together and make this most delicious, creamy blue cheese, which is amazing. Thanks for that one, Ryson. Kim, cheesy fact: cheese production around the globe is more than the combined worldwide production of coffee, tobacco, tea, and cocoa beans. Cocoa beans, which makes chocolate. Well, there you go. That's a fun fact. That means we're on a good thing. So, yeah, keep making cheese. Jason says, have you ever tried to make Velveeta cheese? It's good cheese for mac and cheese. Sorry to disappoint you, Jason, but Velveeta cheese is processed cheese. There is a bit of cheese in it. You'd be lucky if it's 50% cheese. The rest is oils made into an emulsion, so it melts, and a whole bunch of other chemicals. Just have a look on the packet next time. You'll see that is true. It is not true cheese made with just milk, rennet, cultures, and salt, like most cheeses are. So I wouldn't be able to make it in a pink fit anyway. Minimi, number 2. What is the difference between fresh mozzarella and block mozzarella sold in stores with a 1-year shelf life? Yeah, good question. I don't know the answer because I only make fresh mozzarella and eat it within the same day. I know that that pretend mozzarella they have in bags and stuff like that, grated already. And if it's not in the shape of the little ball that we see, and if it's yellow, then it's not real mozzarella either. Not traditional mozzarella that should be white and fresh. What they do is add a natto to it, so it looks like cheese, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's just mozzarella. Maybe something like provolone, but without all the extra cultures and stuff to give it that piquant flavour. Kitty Cat's deep fried halloumi is nice too, again coated in batter. Well, that's something I haven't tried, so that's very unique. I'd like to give that a go next time I make some halloumi. But I really do like it when it's cooked, simply in the frying pan. So it's browned just on both sides. Squeeze a lemon juice. Tried that the other day. Very, very nice. Um, and it's very salty. Somebody on the channel complained that halloumi was too salty, and I said, well, just use less salt. But it is meant to be a salty cheese. That's what it is. Kim Weber says, milk the cow. Oh, milk the cow licensed fromagerie in St Kilda and Carlton. Yes, sorry, not milkmaid. I was close. I can't remember where I got that name from, but milk the cow. So yes, thank you. And the cheese ricotta tart. Thanks, Kim. Another cheesy fact: the first cheese factory was established in Switzerland in 1815. However, successful mass production began in 1851 in the United States. Yes, and the rest is history. Cheese is now, as Kim said, exceeds all of those other products throughout the world. Riesler or Rissler, hi mate, you're going to come to the UK when the new Tottenham Stadium is finished. We're gonna have a massive cheese and wine room. Fantastic. That would be interesting to see. But I have been to the UK. In fact, Kim is from England. She can't say it here on the channel, but if you listen to some of our old podcasts, then you'll hear Kim's voice. But she's originally from Southampton. Cheesy fact from Kim: approximately 10 pounds or 4.5 kilograms of milk is required to make 1 pound of cheese. If it wasn't for cheese, a lot of milk would have been wasted. That's correct. Cheese is, I can't remember who said it, is milk's immortal leap to, what is it? Cheese is milk's immortal leap. I think that's all it is. Because, yeah, it lasts a long time. Milk goes off, cheese doesn't. It just gets better with age if it's a semi-hard and harder cheese. Jason says, I was at the store the other day and saw some interesting cheddar cheeses. Wondering if you heard of them. Horseradish cheddar, mango fire, and jalapeno cheddar. Yeah, I actually had a wasabi cheddar the other day. It was just cheddar cheese infused with real wasabi, which is a root of a plant that grows in colder climates. And I tell you what, it was very, very nice. Jalapeno cheddar is better known as Monterey Jack. So, yes, I've even made that. Mango fire. No, I haven't heard of that one. But, yeah, there's a lot of herb and spices and fruit-infused cheddars coming out just to get the flavour going there. So I'm going to try and make a chili cheddar very soon with dried red chili. That should be very interesting. We've tried some at the shop lately from the supermarket. And I tell you what, there's actually probably just as much chili as there is cheese in that cheese. So really it's cheese with, so it's chili with a bit of cheese. But I tell you what, it's hot. Right, where are we up to? Rizla says, do you eat the rind on camembert? Yes, it's one of the best parts. It's got an amazing flavour. Eat the rind. It's good for you. Ryson says, try flying the halloumi with lemon zest. Interesting. I'll try that too. Kim's cheesy facts. The most stolen food item in the world is cheese, with 4% of all cheese being sold end up stolen. I wonder who steals it. Is it a mouse? That's Gavin. That's a dad joke. Mario, to get some cheddar to more of a tasty flavour, what do you do to get it that way? You let it age, Mario. Good cheddars need time. It's just the way it is, the chemical process that happen during aging. The older they are, the sharper and better the flavour for a cheddar. I think that if you try a cheddar at 3 months, very mild after you've made it. And from experience now that I've aged a cheddar for 1 year, I can tell you that the wait is well worth it. It tastes amazing, sharp, and just second to none. Second to none. Kim says the quote is, cheese is milk's leap towards immortality. Oh, it's close. Very close. Cheesy fact, cheddar cheese is never naturally orange. That is correct. It can go yellow, and I've had that with some raw milk cheeses, and that's because of a high percentage of beta-carotene in the milk, turns the cheese yellow. And you'll notice that goat's cheese, and let me just show you the difference. So there's goat's cheese, that's pure white, as you can see there. And that's cow's milk cheese, which is yellow. But that's yellow or orangey because I added annatto. I actually added 16 drops of annatto to that double Gloucester. And that should start to go a little bit orange in the middle as well. And double Gloucester cheese is normally an orangey, yellowy orangey sort of colour. And the reason they added annatto back in the old days was because people thought the milk was richer if it was orange or yellow in colour. And cheesemakers use substandard milk, trying to get away with all sorts of things, and added things like carrot juice, saffron, I even heard marigold petals were added to give it an orange flavour or yellow colour, turmeric, and of course annatto, which is the standard product that doesn't impart any flavour into the cheese, just the colour. Thanks for that cheesy fact, Kim. Looking forward to the chili cheddar vid. I better write it down now. Chili. There we go. Chili cheddar. It's on the list. Kim's got more cheesy facts and questions. Right, hang on. Let me go. The holes in Swiss cheese until recently were a sign of imperfection and something cheesemakers tried to avoid. I think they're fantastic. In fact, you'll see very soon, sorry to harp on about it, but the Gruyere and Piora both have very small little eyes. Just amazing. And that was just through the process. I can't remember if I added any propionic shamani. I don't think so, which is a gas-producing bacteria that produces the really large eyes in cheeses like Emmental, and those Alpine-style cheeses. Even Jarlsberg, which is a Norwegian cheese, has large eyes. And they are amazing, great cheeses, because they've got a nutty flavour to them, which if you haven't tried them before, give it a go. You'll be very surprised at the flavour difference. Jason says, my favourite cheese is extra sharp cheddar. What's my favourite cheese? Well, that's a pretty good one. All cheeses are my favourite cheeses, Jason. I eat them all and like the vast majority of them anyway. And by the way, when it comes down to cheese tasting, don't let the nose, how do I say this? Don't let your nose deter you from eating a cheese, because some cheeses, and here's a good example. Kim opened up the cheese fridge today and then told me off because she said it stunk. The cheese fridge really was smelly. So I took the two cheeses that were maturing and I thought, oh, it's about time I did a taste test on these. And as I said, Gruyere and Piora. And they did smell a little bit. They were on the nose because they were a little bit damp, and there was a bit of Brevibacterium linens, which is a red cheese mold, and that had slightly infected both of them and got into the rind. But the cheeses they tasted amazing, both of them. Didn't taste like a red mold cheese at all. But don't let the nose put you off. Let the taste buds taste the cheese. Okay, Kim, cheesy fact. Albertville, France's, I don't think I said that right. Albertville, France's electricity is powered by Beaufort cheese. Since whey is unnecessary to make Beaufort, bacteria is added to the whey. This transforms into biogas. This gas, when fed through an engine which heats water to 90 C, generates 2,800 megawatt hours of electricity per year. That's fantastic. Yes. Yes, I can see. Thank you for the face mask and the scary face, Kim. It wasn't that bad. Was the cheese nice? Yes. She says they tasted nice. Ryson says I made Jarlsberg with a past date culture, so add a little bit more. It's almost ready to open on the 14th, and it split all the wax. Yeah, probably best to re-wax it so it doesn't get a mold infection on the outside. I had that happen to one of my Jarlsbergs, and I just re-waxed it again. And it seemed to go okay. Had beautiful eyes. You've seen it on the channel anyway. It's a great little cheese. Riceler P says my nose. Oh, it's my nose that stops me from eating the rind on camembert. I promise I'm going to give it a go next time. Yes, please do. You'll be surprised at that. The flavour is amazing. Kim says, yes, they tasted great. Rice and smell amazing, and you couldn't see any mould, so just vac packed it. Oh, good idea. Should I remove the wax or no? You can pop it in there with just the wax on. That's fine. If it's only going to be for a few days, what's it for? It's just 2 days to go. It'll be fine. Jason, what's the longest you've aged cheese? I've already done that one. 18 months at this stage. No, 2 years for a Parmesan. And I actually forgot about it. It was at the back of the fridge, at back of the cheese fridge, tucked away there, and let it myself mature for a long, long time. And it tasted amazing. It was a Parmesan, or a very poor imitation of Parmigiano Reggiano, which is made in Italy. Kim, cheesy fact, people started dyeing cheese orange back in the 17th century to fool people into thinking it was higher quality. Yes, as I said, that's what they did. The French have different cheese for every day of the year. Cheese experts estimate the total number of different French cheeses is about 1,000. I tell you what, I'd love to do a tour of France and just do every cheese. I'll be there for years, trying all the different cheeses. I reckon you could probably fit in about 10 cheeses a day, couldn't you? So, all right, maybe not years and years, but you'd have to visit every single region where the terroir is, the earth, the environment is different and creates all these different cheeses. So that will be quite amazing. Well, we've run out of questions here, and we've got, what's that, 13 minutes to go. So if anybody's got any other questions, shoot them through. I'll have a sip of my coffee while you're doing that. No more questions? I think maybe we'll call it a night a little bit earlier, but oh, Kim's got one. One more cheesy fact just for you guys. Oh, all right, two. No, it's one. Pule cheese is the world's most expensive cheese and comes from the milk of Balkan donkeys from Serbia. It's valued at $600 per pound, which is, what's that, $600 US per 450 grams. So expensive because there are only 100 jennies, female donkeys, that are milked for pule making. It takes 3 gallons of milk to create 1 pound of cheese. That's amazing. Jason said, would you ever try Casu Marzu? The answer to that is no, I would not. I'm averse to maggots in my cheese. Ryzen, what are your thoughts on Mersey Valley cheddar? It's very soft. Yes, it is. It's a tasty cheese. I think it's only matured for about 3 months. And I have seen a lot of the cheddar cheese factories in Australia, all they do is make the cheddar into a block, right? They press it in square blocks, nothing's round about it. And then they just simply vac pack it, and they leave it for 3 months, and that's cheddar in some factories here in Australia. There are no wheels of cheese, which is quite funny because I was talking to Nick, this guy here, Nick. He was very interested in cheese making, and he told me that some of the cheese, he went to the Bega cheese factory in southern New South Wales, and because he spent a lot of time in Switzerland, he wanted to know where the wheels of cheese were. And he said there were no wheels of cheese in the cheese shop. Everything was packaged in plastic, and it was all square. So there's industrial cheese for you. Not quite like the artisan cheese that we do. Kim says, cheesy fact, moose cheese costs around $420 per pound since each milking takes 2 hours. Those poor mooses. And must be done in complete silence. Yeah, I'd be upset if somebody was milking me too. Rizla says, have you ever eaten that cheese they make in Italy? Yeah, we just did that one. That's called Casu Marzu. No, and I'm not going to. Yes, Jason beat you to it. Would you like to try the Ukraine donkey cheese? Sounds very similar to that Balkan one that Kim just put that cheesy fact up. Carl. Very expensive by the sounds of it. Wayne. Hello, Wayne. Popped out of the blue there. I made a couple of cheeses last week, feta and a casso fresco, and the curds took about an hour and a half to set. Why would this be? Good question. Hard to determine without actually being there. But what type of rennet did you use? And what was the IMCU of the rennet? Remembering that milk needs to be slightly acidic for rennet to work properly. Did you add enough culture, and was it the right temperature? But yeah, I'm interested in knowing what the IMCU of the rennet would be, Wayne. I'll wait for that. We've got 8 minutes to go, even less, 7 minutes to go. So last questions, please, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll answer those, and then we'll get some housekeeping, and then we'll call it a night. No last questions? Okay. Mad Millie, yes. Mad Millie tablets only have an IMCU of 60. They are very, very low strength. I would use a lot more. In fact, the halloumi that I made the other day and showed Nick and Veston how to make, we used 2 tablets per 4 litres of milk, and that just set properly. So buy yourself some liquid rennet, preferably about at least over 200 IMCU, and you will not have any issues whatsoever. And you won't have to wait an hour and a half for it to set either. So Minami said, my last wheel of cheese, Edam, had trouble floating in my brine. It's sunk on one side. Am I likely to need more salt? Yes. To tell if your brine is the right strength, pop a raw egg in it, a clean one, of course. Pop a raw egg. If the raw egg floats and sticks out by about the size of a 20-cent piece, don't know what size, a quarter in the US, then your brine is salty enough. Yeah, so and Kim's just announced something I was going to announce in the housekeeping. The evening show, because we've the audience is a lot less, we're going to actually move it to a fortnightly format. We'll do the morning show, the 8 o'clock one, which has lots of people, and without questions, the show struggles, of course. As you can see, there's been some pregnant pauses and stuff like that tonight, but we're going to once a fortnight for the evening show. But yeah, store up all your questions for them. Greg, hello, Greg, how are you? Hi, Gavin. If I do a double recipe of milk, does the rennet and mold stay the same for 10 to 20 litres? No, you still have to double it. So when you do double a recipe, Greg, you double everything, except for the pressing times, the acidification time, the renneting times. So timings stay the same, just the ingredients double, just like baking a cake. Ryzen, can you use too much rennet? Yes, you can use too much rennet, and what it tends to do is the cheese becomes too firm, doesn't expel enough whey, becomes too moist, and then it goes too bitter over time if you use too much rennet. Anyhow, we'll call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for all your questions today. I really appreciate it. It's your questions that make the show flow, as well as Kim's cheesy facts, of course. And as you can see, she's starting to not scrape the bottom of the barrel, but a person who sells cheese as a cheesemonger would be down there. Nothing against cheesemongers. I think you're all fabulous and you have an amazing array of knowledge on how to mature cheeses. And Kim's rightly reminded me there, yes, you can support the show by going to Patreon. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, and that all builds up and helps the show flow, pays for things like the internet and all the lovely camera gear and the lighting and all that sort of stuff that I've got here, and keeps the show nice and fresh and clean and all that sort of stuff. Also, don't forget that we've got a merch store that you can buy things like this cup and the t-shirts that I wear on the show and stuff like that. They are from Cafe Press, but I get a small percentage of the royalties there. And also, if you want to buy any kits and stuff like that, like I've got up in the background there, and books, we've got quite a few books and DVDs now. I made some DVDs. I know they're old school, but most of them are all on YouTube now anyway. But yeah, you can buy all cheese making supplies over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. And if you want to see full recipes of most of the cheeses, I haven't done a recipe for a while, but you can check that out at littlegreencheese.com is my cheese making blog. And you can see from when I made my very first cheese back in 2009 to present day. If you buy a book, Ryzen says, will you sign the book when I buy it? Yes, of course I will. I'll sign every book. So yeah, so you can visit all those things. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate your time, taking your time out today to watch the show and make it the show that it was with all your lovely questions. Thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and we'll see you next time. Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. G'day, Curd Nerds. Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. Well, g'day, Curd Nerds. Well, g'day, Curd Nerds.